Smoke, puff, puff, pass that vibe. Stone apes get high, puff, puff, we like puff, puff, pass that vibe. Stone apes get high, puff, puff, we like
Puff, puff, past them vibes. Sensei getting high.
What's goody?
Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, man, I had to.
New York's
Hey,
in the
what's
house.
up?
DeFi.
What's good, bro? Sensei, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, brother? All good?
All is well, bro. All is well.
Love it. Fucking love it.
I'd definitely like to hear your story. How did this even happen? Yeah, how did this get going?
You know, it sort of started because, like everybody knows I'm a super spiritual person. Like, it's not bullshit. It's not this sort of character that I'm playing or anything. Like Sensei in the name, I was just kind of fucking around with it. But at the same time, I'm a really, really spiritual person. So when I started to kind of awaken, I guess, in a way, just like when I got into my spiritual journey, I started removing a lot of things from my life. All of these things that I really didn't want to do, they just felt forced. It was something that I had kind of been, guided towards, but like I never questioned it. I just kind of followed what everybody else was doing around me, and it wasn't something I was passionate about or anything. So I dropped out. I started risking everything because I realized, after meditating a lot and getting into the path of self-inquiry, I started, questioning my own identity and everything. And I just realized that life was so much simpler than, all these human things that I was doing. Life became more and more, similar to a game or to a dream or to a sort of illusion, right? So when I started taking life less seriously, I started removing so many things that were kind of important, seen by society, like my college degree and like my future and all these things. And, I just started kind of moving away from all that and, what people were doing. And I started doing my own thing, doing like things that I really wanted to do. So I just went to Bali, like with no money. I said, fuck it, I'm going to Bali. I've always wanted to go there.
Oh, Bali.
My friend, we were doing YouTube together. He had a crypto YouTube channel in Spanish. I just thought it was like a huge opportunity for me. And if I missed out on it, he was inviting me to his house. I didn't even have money. I think I had like about $1,000 saved up in the bank account. And I had no college degree because I had dropped out. I had no job. There was pretty much no money guaranteed. I still didn't give a shit about life because I knew it was just a game. So I wasn't taking it seriously. And I just decided to follow my intuition in a way and kind of what life wanted for me. So I just went to Bali, risked everything without even caring about the outcome. When you risk, for some reason, life always tries to reward you, right? There's like this reward mechanism for whenever you take big risks. And in the same time, I was learning a shit ton about crypto and NFTs. So we got really early into Solana NFTs. As soon as they started, we were already minting the first project on Solana. I just went all into Solana NFTs for some reason. There's no logic behind this decision, it's sort of intuitive. Literally, like, I don't analyze anything. I don't do research. I don't like evaluate things and do like, what are the pros and the cons and all this bullshit. Like any logical thinking that a normal being would do, it's not incorporated in my mind anymore. I just removed it. And since that part of life wasn't in me anymore, because I knew it was just a game, an illusion, a dream, I could just, take decisions intuitively and trust my gut feeling and just, kind of flow with life. And, whenever you start to flow with life, all these blessings come along. So I would just go all in after all in every single project in Solana. I minted DEA, I minted SMBs. I don't know, like a bunch of different, all the early projects, I minted all of them.
Early ones.
Yeah, all the OG ones.
You're the honorary first DGen Ape Academy member on the show. That's quite some shoes to fill for the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy as well. Like Monolith, he blessed me with this PFP, and I'll always be grateful for him because it really changed everything. From a branding perspective and from a reach perspective, after this, DEA, PFP, everything changed. Like Sensei grew really quickly. And I guess, I don't know, I just kind of solidified my brand. It was like the final step, and the PFP and the banner was really a huge part of it. So I'm blessed.
It's definitely one of the best looking ones, I'll say that.
It was like a dream come true. Probably like one of the best things that happened to me since I joined Solana NFTs, for sure.
Mm.
If I could say something real quick, because I do appreciate your story. Something that stands out to me is not only your ability to kind of detach yourself from where you were from, like the environment you were placed in initially, right? You kind of detach yourself with somewhere else, but your willingness to do that and put yourself in a new space where you can reset. I think a big part of that was you kind of like checking out, you know what I mean? Checking out from the structure you was in before, the space you were in before.
Yeah, people have to live their lives based on a vision of themselves, not what others see fit for them.
It requires one to have a very deep spiritual realization, you know, like in order for you to really kind of like risk everything in a way and just, you know, start to just like flow with life, you really need to, first of all, kind of suffer, you know? You need to identify that suffering within you. You need to identify the fact that, you know, being human is limited. It requires you to pretend. It requires you to act. So you just believe in everything you've been told. You think that you are this human. You think that you have an age, a gender, personality traits, and all this, like this entire description of who you think you are. You just wake up every single morning and you remind yourself of what you are. What you identify with is just a mental construction from the past. It's something that you need to remind yourself in order to be, which means it cannot truly be you. When you start to like search for who you are and you get really deep into it and you question everything, that's when you truly find all the answers that you've always been searching for since the moment you're born.
There's 3 decisions we make in every moment that changes what you can work on and essentially change your destiny. You know, everyone has a choice of what they can choose to focus on. And as you're focusing on it, what does that mean to you? And then everyone essentially, like we talked about, has the choice to say, well, what am I going to do about it? Are you going to be proactive? Because, you know, as you've been talking about, Sensei, everyone has the power to make that change.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no problem with, you know, remaining in, you know, the dimension of the ego. You know, it's not better or worse. The thing is, when you become identified with something that you're not and you're unconscious of it, you just let life play you instead of you playing life. And so if you get really deep into that illusion, then it's harder for you to eventually come out. Time is also, you know, part of the illusion, right? Like only a human ego can experience time. Time doesn't actually exist. And, you know, a lot of people won't understand this, or they might hear me and think like, this guy's fucked up. And I totally get it. Like, again, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. Once you experience these things, you have no questions and it is what it is, right? Time is just part of the game. Space and time, these are only perceived by humans. The beauty of life is that whenever you take it so seriously and you really get deep into the ego and you become so attached to this illusory identity, what life does is that it makes you suffer. And people may see this as something negative, but it's actually, it's beautiful in the way that, you know, those who are able to suffer or get into a deep state of depression or something, if you're able to recognize it, you come out of that as the most wisest person ever. And life rewards you by understanding your own suffering, by identifying it, by observing it and transcending it.
Sometimes the worst parts of my life, I look back and I think, well, that was probably the best time of my life because that was the tipping point. That was what swung it the other way. So without that moment, I wouldn't have had, you know, the beauty that I have now. But of course, as you said, it was through a lot of suffering. So through suffering comes joy. And if you can look at suffering as like a good thing and think, oh, wow, like, what am I going to learn through this? What is the beauty that is being shown to me right now?
Exactly.
Then there's really happiness in absolutely every single moment. You know, you just have to make the choice to choose that.
Make the choice. What you just explained is like balance, right? Like there's no white without black, black without white. Just having that balance. And in the system, in the society we kind of live in, it's like there is no respect for the balance and understanding that we're one. It's more like each side will attack each other type of thing. And so like that chaos isn't really conducive to somebody stepping out of the ego and being by themselves, right? It's like, it's one thing to go to school and want to be fly and be better than people. That's the ego thing. But if you just want to go to school to better yourself and the school isn't built, the school won't let you in. The system saying, you're not good. So it's like, it's not even an ego thing now. It's like certain things around us are not set up to be beneficial to everybody. And so that, you know, that leads me to this question to you is like, do you think you would have been where you are now if you didn't go to Bali?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Okay, respect. I would have said the same thing. I was hoping that you said that, because if you just said, you had to be the same place, I'd be like, no, sir, you wouldn't have. We wouldn't be here. I respect you because it was you stepping out of that place. You know what I'm saying? To go, it's almost like you knew that, this ain't it for me. Being here is not it. I gotta go. Mm-hmm. And so in stepping out of what you were comfortable at, or maybe not comfortable at, finding where you would be more comfortable at, taking a shot and taking a risk. That's where the goal was mine. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what people are afraid to do, but we all must do. Like, change is inevitable. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I mean, I think it's all about like having complete detachment to whatever it is that you're doing that is not making you completely, happy or at peace, feel at peace. Like, you need to close a door to open a new one. And that's exactly what I did. It was just closing one door, having zero attachment to it, because I know that by doing so, a bigger door and a much better one would just appear in front of me. And just by having that sort of faith and believing in kind of what life wants for you, or the universe or God, the label doesn't really matter, right? They're just words. God, the universe, life, it's all really the same thing. Call it love. The label itself doesn't matter. That's only, it's only used for the ego to interpret it.
What's the difference between a word and a label?
It's quite funny. Like, the ego tries to use words, and like it uses them, and it takes them so seriously that all words are created, all words are illusion. And so when you try to like distinguish between one and another, you're like losing track of what's really going on. Both of them are illusory. The definition of them is completely irrelevant unless you believe in that system of words. And the truth is that the reality of things, or truth, or God, transcends all these labels and words. A label can be more like as a thing that the ego carries with him. It can be related to status. It can be related to your gender, your personality, or whatever. Like, these are all labels.
I'll read you boys this quote now too, Jidda Krishnamurti, because I think it relates to what we're talking about. Intelligence is the capacity to perceive the essential, the what is. It is only when the mind is free from the old that it meets everything new, and in there that's true joy. To awaken this capacity in oneself and in others is true education.
If nothing else, I feel like I'm my best if I learn something new and I could use that thing I just learned. Like, I help somebody else too. So it's like, at the end of the day, all this is just energy being passed back and forth. And a lot of people fail because they try to stifle that. They try to stop the energy. They try to hide knowledge from people. Their ego might get into it, and now they feel like they're better than others. All that aside, it's like, I've always been a person where I'm going to genuinely be me. It'll link with people it's supposed to link with, and I'll build with the people I'm supposed to build with.
Well, life is just vibrations and energy. So you're speaking either life or death from your words every time you talk. Thoughts become things. That vibration, like, you want to elevate yourself to a different level so you can vibrate with those like-minded people. And that's what we're trying to do here as well, is to try to help people share with them the mindset. And it's so important because, when you relate that to trading and stuff like that, so many people get caught in a bad mindset, and you have to really pull yourself out of that and focus on the positive.
100%, bro.
Well, Sensei, you mentioned you do a lot of exercises, meditation. What would you say to someone who's just coming to understand all of this? Just kind of understanding what it all means that you're talking about. And, we tell people it's very easy to say, oh, everyone has a choice. And of course, situations are different, but it also is true. Like, everyone has a choice. One of the earliest things my mentor shared with me when I was whining and complaining and I wanted help and I wanted handouts, he literally slapped me and was like, you want a helping hand? You need to look at the end of your own wrist. And it was a moment in my life that woke me up, literally and figuratively, to think to myself, like, oh my gosh, I have the power. I've been giving this power away from myself to others. And,
exactly.
It's always been me. I've been draining myself by giving away what's, the beauty in all of us. How do you help somebody in the beginning of that journey, Sensei?
I think the first thing one needs to understand is that you don't actually need help. Like, to admit that you need help, limiting yourself, right? It's like
giving that power away.
Yeah, nobody actually needs help in life. You just need to lose a layer of illusion to just find what was already there. I guess meditation, the only thing it does is just, you're able to place your attention either in one thing or in, kind of the totality of life in the present moment, which can be everything and nothing. And it just kind of helps you control what you really are and help you gain awareness. It just gives you back that power that you forgot about by being so attached to this illusory identity. That's really all it is. Like, there's no right or wrong meditation. You can even do mindfulness. You can just focus on your breath. You can just it can last 1 minute, 15 minutes, 8 hours, an entire day, week, depends on your level. Like meditation is just key for you to kind of zoom out of the illusion. You can still play the illusion. You can still play with this ego. We're doing it right now, right? We're just having a conversation, a human conversation that is part of the dream, that is part of the illusion. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's perfect, but it's not only the truth. It's not only what we are. It's just a possibility within this infinite being that we are. And so whenever you want to just connect with yourself again, with your true self, you just need to zoom out. You just need to become present again and stop living in the past or the future and just reconnect with what's already there. And that's it. That's all meditation is.
100%, man. So like when you say like they don't know they're in the matrix, like, well, we don't know that we don't have to pay taxes, or the matrix of money itself, like money is a construct we shouldn't have to follow and we wouldn't need that. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, what I was speaking about was more of the being of self-aware, not in terms of the rat race or making money, but in terms of the spiritual being.
A lot of people, they think they're too busy doing things that are more important than realizing who you are. Like, there's nothing more important than meditation. There's nothing more important than realizing who you truly are. Like, whatever is going on in the game, whatever is going on in your illusory life is irrelevant to what you need to understand. You cannot put so much time into something illusory and not put minimal time into understanding truth. You have a choice all the time, every single time.
That brings up an interesting point too, because you talk about meditation. There's nothing really more important than that. Yeah, there's this stigma around that as well, which is very odd in society, I feel too. Like for myself, I spend about 20 minutes a day, maybe like 10 minutes right when I get up, 10 minutes right before bed, because that's when your subconscious is most susceptible to signals or to lessons or what you're trying to feed it. So you have to be very aware of that. But even 20 minutes, people are like, I don't have 20 minutes to meditate. It's like, that's shorter than a half-hour TV show. And yet people watch hours a night of that. So it's about priorities. And as you say, choices. It always comes down, like you have a choice. Don't give your other people the power.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason why I made the amount of money I made is because I stopped caring about money. If I cared so much about money, I wouldn't have received it.
Well, I was just going to kind of draw back on your story that you told us, and you started with like you went to Bali, right? And something that's always helped me that I tell people and try to educate is the importance of travel, the importance of experiencing different parts of the world and different lives, realizing you're part of a bigger picture, that it's, you know, a lot more than just your small town and the issues that are going on there. Like we're all on this planet together. And I think when you get that travel, especially to a spiritual place like Bali, you kind of realize these things, like your mind is open, your third eye is awakened.
Definitely. A lot of people don't know about Sensei, but not only am I really young in comparison to most people in the space, but I've also traveled my entire life. I've been moving from one place to another, went to like different international schools. And, you know, for my age, I've traveled most of my life, you know? And so that also helps you kind of reset your mind continually. And so you're kind of forcing yourself out of your comfort zone. I was never able to remain too long in one place. I was always kind of, you know, for some external reason that is, you know, in reality, all external factors are really internal, right? Mm-hmm. But for some reason, life kind of kept me away of my comfort zone. Whenever I got too comfortable, it would kind of kick me out of that comfort zone and just kind of force me out of it so that I could experience again this sort of uncomfortable feeling of just being outside of your comfort zone, you know?
Life begins outside your comfort zone.
I really like that because it goes back to how I kind of was saying you got to Bali and you were able to But you always like that. 99% of people are just not like that, where they're like, you know what? I need to get somewhere else. And so it's like getting too comfortable. It only validates your good, the good habits and the bad habits, right? You get too comfortable, whatever you're doing, you're stuck in that. And so if nothing else, you moving around made you like water, literally. I'm gonna keep that in mind for my son, man, because we're moving soon, and I'm definitely, we're gonna take some trips. So yeah, I think if nothing else, you had the benefit of doing that, seeing so many perspectives.
Definitely. I mean, the more you travel, the better. Continually get out of your comfort zone. So it really, like, this applies to everything in life. Mm-hmm. Whenever you get comfortable, whenever it gets repetitive, whenever you enter this routine, break it, get out of it. There's always that one feeling prior to getting out of your comfort zone. There's like this huge feeling of kind of doubt and fear right before you take that leap of faith. You feel that discomfort already. It's like, why am I even doing this? Do I need to do it? Is there any way I can just stay in the same place and just kind of stay warm and cozy here? Or do I really need to jump? Or do I really need to get out of this? When that happens, don't even think of it. You're like, it's beautiful how you can block all your thoughts all of a sudden, and you just say yes and say fuck it and literally jump without thinking, without, like, as soon as you notice your thoughts coming in and trying to, like, they come over with doubt and fear and uncertainty, just as soon as you identify it, jump. Don't even think about it. Like, just jump and say fuck it. Change is really like what makes us, what we are. Constant change. Nothing is ever the same. So nothing can ever be repeated. Whatever happens in any moment, it is always changing. It is always different. And it is that constant change which is changeless.
Be a river, not a reservoir.
Exactly.
High level conversations. Around my way, they call that hopping off the porch, and a lot of times people will do that for money, or they'll do that for shallow reasons. You'll hop off the porch, but just doing that, being able to say, you know what, I'll go against my fear. Because like you said, at the end goal is change and being better, being your best self. A lot of people just won't do it, man. They won't hop off the porch. And you got to have that mentality. And it's something, like you said, start with maybe little things, but if you have that maybe sense of self and you have that value built up and you can see it the way you're saying to see it, it becomes a lot easier. So I agree with you, my man.
Well, people will always say, I'll never break a promise with my kids, but then they break promises with themselves. And we're all capable and guilty of that. Like, you're supposed to do that, or you shouldn't do that. But one I can think of for myself is I was terrified of heights. So rather than be terrified of heights, I just did a lot of things that put me in situations of like extreme heights. Like, I've done one of the largest bungee jumps in the Southern Hemisphere. I've done jumping out of a plane, and the whole time up in the plane, I'm like, why don't I just land with him? Like, I don't have to jump. but you can just take me back down. You're landing, you're not jumping. At the end of it, I was like, that was the best thing I've ever done in my life. That was amazing. I wanted to do it again, and since I've done another one, but it was such a exhilarating feeling to let that weight that people put on themselves of fear, to let it go. And that's part of life too, just a series of moments of letting go. Let go of the past, let go of the moment, because it's like you said, it's all an illusion. And I remember landing on that skydive thinking, geez, like, that was what was I afraid of? Like, that was easy as well, right? So once you overcome and get out of your comfort zone, you also realize, like, man, that was nothing. Like, I could do that again. Yeah,
and you almost want to do it again.
That's just beautiful, bro. Because that's one of the things I definitely, self-imposed it on myself. Like, I'm not jumping on no plane, not for nobody. That's a great example of saying, you know what, I was fearful of this. And to look it in the face makes you better. It's simple. It's simple, but people make it very hard. Yeah, the ego make it hard.
I mean, you may not find me in a hot air balloon anytime soon, but I overcame my fear.
I heard you. He said, I'm not going up again. But the fact that you could do that, man, is something that as human beings, as living beings, you put that fear, man, you stop and stifle yourself, man. So 100%, yo.
Well, what's an example for you, Sensei, of overcoming a fear you had?
I don't know. When I was a kid, I was always like the type of guy, like, I remember being scared of presentations, like really scared. But eventually I became like the best one at it. I don't know how. I just kind of I guess, practice sometimes and just continually trying it out and just kind of begin to gain these confidence points. And then you become more and more confident until, it just kind of creates this multiplier effect. But I guess, I don't know, like I've been traveling so much. I think moving as a kid and having all my friends, all my entire life already set up in one country, and just being forced out of that and feeling so, like it wasn't even up to me. It was up to my parents, right? Because we were moving because of my dad's job and I couldn't do shit about it. And so we had to move. There was not really a choice. Mm-hmm. But of course, it was horrible. It was like probably one of the hardest moments in my life was moving away from literally my home country, Argentina, going to Switzerland, which was the complete opposite. We're talking about third world against first world. It was like the most intense experience of my life. I was obviously shocked. I had to learn English. But yeah, I had to learn from zero. I had to make friends again. And these things, they are beyond uncomfortable. They were kind of, like traumatizing as a kid. It's beyond your control, so you have to adapt. You kind of hit like a reality check that tells you, look, you're not gonna go back home. Like you may see your friends maybe in a year or something, but right now you're staying here and you need to adapt to this. You don't have a choice. I remember like when I heard them tell me that, like when they told me, okay, do what you want to do, but you are on your own, that was intense for me because I knew I was risking everything. But at the same time, I was so excited about it. I was like, holy shit, like I'm really on my own now. I can do whatever I want. I knew it was all a game, and it felt like I was the movie director in the movie. I knew that I could do anything. I had gotten back my faith in a way. I still did it anyways, and I risked everything. And then after that, I went all in after all in with all the money that I had. All the money that was coming in, I would just reinvest it into crypto automatically. I was just eating rice just to save up some money that I could put into crypto. And it would just accumulate itself and keep on increasing the amount of money I had in crypto. And then I would find out about Solana NFTs and go all in. I changed all my crypto into Solana, which was like the riskiest thing ever, right? Like every single decision I did was risky. Every single one of them. And somehow every single decision I took was profitable. Whenever I did something that would be considered extremely risky, that's when I had the best returns ever. And it just kept on working and working and working. And so I kept on having more and more faith in myself. So I'd go all in. And then this project, I would flip some NFTs, make a lot of money, then go all in again. And if one project went wrong, I would have gone back to zero. I would have like zero money and I would be completely fucked. But I had so much faith in myself. I knew exactly what was going on, and I knew that I was creating every single aspect of my life. I was just capable of going all in after all in and risking everything without really risking, which is kind of funny. It's like you're risking everything knowing that you're not risking anything.
What power did you draw upon in those moments of making that decision? You know, maybe during the mint itself, like you went all in or on secondary. What did you trust the most in those moments?
I never found like a better word to explain it than intuition. It's like, I don't know how people interpret intuition, but...
Well, you trusted your gut.
Exactly, literally.
Sensei made the decision, but as we mentioned earlier, no matter what word you put on it, God made the decision. This was your path. This is all part of a larger picture here, not just what's going on and, hey, I got lucky, I minted these things. No, there was...
Exactly.
You were meant to, you would like, that was your story meant to be told. It wasn't just a fluke or an accident either. Like, you trusted your gut. And that's, I tell that to people all the time too. Just trust your intuition in making these decisions.
Because the reality is that if you just use your intuition, you save all that time analyzing and evaluating and researching. You just save all of it by just trusting that one thing that you are. That one thing that has infinite wisdom and knowledge, you know, just by trusting that one thing, you're set for life. If you just constantly trust your intuition, you're gonna win 100% guaranteed.
Well, and I mean, the mind is a garden. So the subconscious doesn't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea. It doesn't know right or wrong. It just knows what you plant in it, and what you plant in it grows.
How would you say that, as Sensei, what do you think has helped you? And like, if you had to give some advice, what could be a great way to kind of help bring yourself closer, get more in touch with it?
I'll be completely transparent. There's many ways of reaching this understanding, this deep spiritual understanding of who we are. You may start with something like spiritual books, just reading. Words have a lot of energy, and especially when they are written by enlightened beings who have, understood life. Use that information, use that wisdom, and truly meditate on those teachings, because those people have understood life. They have gone beyond life and death. Definitely meditation. Meditation, I think, is the easiest one for everything. It's available to all of us at all times. We can meditate anywhere, anytime, and for any period of time. Meditation is definitely the key one. Before you even begin this sort of like spiritual journey, I think there has to be some sort of questioning. There has to be some sort of curiosity for what you are. You just need to identify that whatever it is that you are as a human, as an ego, is limited. You need to know that there is more to what you are.
Well, I know that there's a lot of different ways that people meditate. First of all, that was a really helpful answer. I feel like that's a nice way to just kind of break it down into, a couple different paths that, like you said, they all lead to the same thing. For you personally, how does meditation look?
I think I definitely started like most people just by doing mindfulness, just by trying to focus my intention in one thing at once. It can be your breath. It can be sound meditation. It can be even just by perceiving things. The cool thing about meditation is that there is no right or wrong. There is millions of different types of meditations. You can do it anywhere at all times. And the intention of meditating is so much more important than the meditation itself, because that underlying intention is coming from a deep, profound sense of understanding. So just by the fact that you want to, like, whenever I see people curious about starting to meditate and they have an intention to meditate, that is already more powerful than any meditation they do. And acknowledging that is really important. But then, in terms of meditation, I mean, start with mindfulness, start easy, something with, 5 minutes if you want. Just focus your attention in one thing. I think the most typical one, or the most common one, is breath. Just focusing your breath, following your breath, inhaling, exhaling. And whenever you notice thoughts come by and appear and disappear, just observe them. Do not engage with them. Do not judge them. Do not think whether you're doing it right or wrong. Just focus and go back to your breath. The whole idea of meditation, that can be, like formal meditation, and then there's informal meditation. So I can just, go on a sofa at home or place a mat in my room and meditate. And that would be considered kind of like formal meditation, right? Really, the important part is maintaining this awareness throughout the day, which is more like informal meditation, right? It's like I'm not actually sitting down and maybe meditating in a lotus position, but I am maintaining that awareness by meditating in every single action I do. You can meditate while driving. You can meditate while in the metro, in the tram, public transport, whenever you're traveling to work. You can meditate while speaking, while listening to music, while eating. This is very important. Literally, with any action that you do, you can be in a meditative state. You can remain aware. So if you're capable of doing that, then you don't even need formal meditation. Remain present in whatever you're doing throughout the day. So you don't need to go into formal meditation if you're already aware of everything going on in the present moment. You can just play around with it and find what suits you the best, how much of your time you want to dedicate to it. These are all questions that only you know for yourself. You can just play around with it and adapt it to your routine and your lifestyle.
One area that people can get a lot of value in is as they'd say, touch grass, go outside, be around nature. I don't mean go outside and be in a city. I mean, go outside and be around organic material, be around life, feel that energy of a forest. And if we can get more in tune and connect with that, then I think more of a true purpose comes out of what we're doing and not just going through the motions.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, one of the beautiful things is that, we have the greatest teacher we can have right in front of our eyes. Just nature is the perfect example of, the best guru we can have in life. If you just observe nature, if you just kind of interact with it and spend some time with it and try to understand it, just by observing it, you learn more than any human. If you carefully observe nature, if you truly try to understand it and see how it interacts with every single organism that forms a part of it, including ourselves as humans, right? Because we are nature in a way. Life itself is the ultimate guru. Every single moment, there is something out there or something in you. There's always some sort of teaching in everything that happens. There's always an opportunity to awaken in every single moment.
Brilliant. Well, Sensei, man, love having you on the show. Really appreciate that you could join us. I think the conversation has been amazing.
Much love, brother. I mean, I love these sort of topics. This is really like whenever I have to speak, if I am not helping people awaken, it feels kind of irrelevant to me. These sort of mindset podcasts or these sort of spirituality topics are what really, add value to other people.
And I think at the end of the day, when people get that value, they'll realize these moments where you can trust your intuition and your gut in making decisions in crypto and NFTs and helping with mindset. Maybe somebody's heard something today that really awoken a thought in their head, or they're like, you know what, I'm going to do meditation. And we don't know what that will be for each individual, but we can at least provide some value to people that's not superficial, like you said. Because at the end of the day, we're all being given a platform and a voice. And we have a choice of what we want to do with that voice and that platform. Like, are you going to use it for good or are you going to use it for bad? So I think there's a lot of opportunity in this space to help people with mindset, especially hearing so much about burnout and hearing people go through this. Like, this is an opportunity for people that may not have heard about mindset or these techniques otherwise in their daily lives. And this is going to make it, easier for them to access and give them a bit of an awareness.
Definitely. I think, again, if there is anything important for whoever is listening to this, it is to really connect with yourself and find peace within. Anything else is truly irrelevant. You should stop everything that you're doing just to question who you are and question what is going on.
Much love to you, my guy. Salute.
Well, we'll definitely continue the conversation, make it more of a mindset series. I say personal development's like a shower. You don't just shower once and go, hey, I'm clean. No, you got to do personal development every day. You've got to grow your mind. You've got to listen to positive things. You've got to put that stuff in your head that gives you that confidence, gives you that ability to make those tough decisions, move forward in your life.
There's nothing else I can tell people. I feel like my only purpose here is to really help others and to give to others and hopefully guide them towards, enlightenment. There is nothing else that really matters, right? Anything else I do is just sort of part of the matrix, part of this whole illusion, this whole dream. And, when you recognize this dream, then you don't really engage with it as much. You play with it, you have fun with it, but you're always aware of it, so you can't really go deep into it anymore.
Love it. Well, peace out, gents. We'll chat soon.
I truly appreciate you setting this up. Truly an amazing time.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated talking with you guys and just kind of sharing as much as I can with you and anybody else that will hear this. I think it's amazing what you're doing.
Yo, salute to you, man. You got pure energy, man. I appreciate just listening to you, your point of view. It's just genuine, man. It's honest. So I'm going to definitely rewatch it because there was the parts I missed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the time to come for conversation. Let's do it again, for sure.
Much love, guys. For real. Truly appreciate you and love talking with all of you.
Pleasure talking to all of you and just hearing all of your different points of view is always just so interesting and adds a lot of value to what I was thinking.
I can already think the next episode could be a whole episode on God mode.
Damn. Yeah, that could be interesting. Because I know I went very deep into the whole understanding of whatever it is that I try to explain, but but basically I think a lot of people will probably want to apply this understanding to their egos, to their lives, just to play around with it. That's really what God mode is about. It starts by comprehending who you are. You first transcend the illusion and this whole dream and this game. If for some reason you stay here in this illusion, regardless of the fact that you understood that it's an illusion, and God mode is simply just applying that understanding to anything that you desire or that you want to manifest, just remaining aware of what is truth while playing.
Well, there's a good teaser to the next talk then. There you go.
Definitely.
Well, peace out, gents. I wish you guys all the best. Nothing but love for you, and really appreciate the time you guys spent today. That's very important. I hope some people got value out of it. I know I love talking to you.
Awesome, brother. I truly appreciate it again. And take care, guys. Have an amazing day. And keep in touch. And yeah, stay blessed. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, salute.
Puff past that vibe. Stone apes get high. Puff, puff, we like. Puff, puff past that vibe. Stone apes get high. Puff, puff, we like.